Straight ahead on CCX News, an important vote awaits the Brooklyn Center School District, what hasn't happened there in more than 15 years. Plus, an orange out at some local stores, the annual event that will be a first for some. And later, plenty of practice. Now, a chance for Cooper students to be the king of rock. CCX News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Next week, voters will head to the polls to make some important decisions on local elections.
A total of 19 metro area school districts will ask voters for additional funds. As Delane Cleveland reports, Brooklyn Center is among that group, and voters in the area will be asked to vote on 2 funding requests to support the district's operating budget and construction needs.
More than 2,000 students attend classes in the Brooklyn Center School District. And come November 7th, local voters will play a big role in deciding the future of their education.
We're hoping and have confidence in our voters.
Brooklyn Center School Superintendent Mark Bonine says the combination of increasing enrollment, academic changes, and aging buildings have led to a variety of needs. As a result, voters will have to answer 2 questions when they head to the polls next week.
The first question is to increase operating funds to do a few things.
Those few things would involve improving STEAM instruction for all students, expanding teacher training, and replacing aging buses.
We have our own transportation department. Parents like it because it's the same bus driver in the morning and same bus driver in the afternoon. They know all of their students by name. They know the parents.
Question number 2 would provide construction funds that would add classroom space, improve school entrance security, and create separate areas for middle and high school students.
When you consider asking taxpayers to provide additional dollars, it's a very thoughtful process, and we haven't asked since I have been here. We haven't asked for construction funds in many years.
All told, the district is asking Brooklyn Center voters for $29 million. That's a tax impact of about $7 more per month than they're paying now.
The reality is this is how we fund education in Minnesota.
Scott Kroonquist is executive director of the Association of Metropolitan School Districts. He says 19 metro area districts have funding requests on the ballot. 11 of those are related to construction.
You know, many of our districts have school buildings that were built back in the 1950s or 60s, and so it's really just kind of the natural cycle now where they need to do significant upgrades, whether it's renovations or additions.
Voters in Brooklyn Center will have the power to decide how the district proceeds. In Brooklyn Center, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
Voters in Brooklyn Center have not approved an operating levy increase in more than 15 years. The last time voters in Brooklyn Center approved a construction bond was back in 2001.
Well, as the old saying goes, you can't fight City Hall, but a group of Brooklyn Park residents are learning how to change City Hall. Representatives from Hamline University made their way to North Hennepin Community College for a community assembly on local government. This is the first of a series of 8 meetings involving 50 residents who get paid $1,200 for their participation. Experts help them develop policy recommendations for electoral reform.
We're not coming in as carpetbaggers and telling people how their local government needs to be run. We are genuinely looking and listening to the people in these communities as to what they are interested in focusing on in their local government and the recommendations that they want to make.
The community assemblies are made possible by a $500,000 grant.
A company that owns a Brooklyn Park Addiction Treatment Center is among nearly 40 agencies getting grants to help fight opioid addiction in Minnesota.
The evidence suggests that about 10% of Minnesotans live with a substance abuse disorder, and only about 10% of those who need treatment are receiving it.
Lieutenant Governor Tina Smith announced grants totaling more than $16 million to combat the state's opioid crisis. Nearly $400,000 will go to a company called Meridian, which runs Valhalla Place. It focuses on opioid users and trains friends of family members how to use a drug to reverse an opioid overdose. It is a big preparation day for deer hunters in Minnesota.
500,000 hunters are expected to take part when the gun deer season opens on Saturday morning.
Many deer openers over the last few years, it's been very warm. This year the temperatures have played in our favor. A lot of the orange clothing is doing very well.
In fact, more than 500 people were in line when Fleet Farm opened the doors this morning, and anything blaze orange was selling fast. For some, it's a family tradition. Others are first-time hunters, and we ran into a couple where it's both. Marcel Jones has hunted since he was a child. His girlfriend Tricia is going for the first time.
I grew up with my late father and my late grandfather hunting from the time can remember. I was in the woods with them, just waiting for the day when I was old enough to get to carry a gun.
Marcel says he wouldn't be surprised if it's the first-timer, his girlfriend, who gets the deer.
Humans have yet to step foot on Mars, but students at Wayzata High School met someone who's done the next best thing.
I get to drive rovers around, robots around on the surface of Mars. I can't think of anything more fun than that. I want to tell them that story.
Hundreds packed the Wayzata High School auditorium Thursday night to hear Dr. Stephen Squires, the principal investigator of the Mars Exploration Rover project. The objective of that mission is to search the red planet for evidence of water and to determine if Mars ever had conditions that would have been suitable for life. His message for this group is that science is fun.
You know, this is the Young Scientist Roundtable. It's an event that's been going on for about 25 years here, and it's intended to give young students the sense that science is a great career path to follow. It's a good thing to go into, and it's really, really fun.
Wayzata's next Young Scientist Roundtable event is scheduled for November 14th. The topic is the art and technology of caramel color. Still ahead, a preview of the new indoor Plymouth Farmers Market.
Plus, a great battle to end in volleyball, as Champlin Park faces St. Michael Albertville for a section championship.
But first, cloudy and cool this weekend with a chance for showers on Sunday.
The city of Plymouth is teaming up with Bachman's to offer residents fresh local foods during the winter months.
And more than a dozen vendors will be featured at the first indoor farmers market. Reporter Sonia Goins has a preview.
It's cold outside, but it's nice and warm and toasty here inside the Bachman's greenhouse, where they're setting up for the first ever indoor farmers market. Joining me now to tell me more about what's going on is Renee Chesley. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So tell me, what kind of items can we expect to see at the farmers market?
Most of the items will be consumables made locally. There will be a few dog treats and cleaning supplies.
Wow, and the first items you have is, what is it? What is this, olive oil?
Olive oils that are flavored and seasoned. A couple size bottles made by a local crafter. We've got some pickled vegetables, small batch, cooled. And we've got homemade granolas and nuts from Patty's.
Okay, and of course we've got Bachman's Greenery.
And we have lots of our greens are just coming in for the season. We've got spruce top planters, as you see here. We've got hanging baskets, bundles of greens, accents, stems, everything you would need to create your planters outside.
Now, do you guys have any entertainment too, or is it just food?
Just the farmers market. I don't think there's any entertainment this time around.
Okay, again, let's remind folks what time. 9 to 1:30, right?
9 to 1:30 this Sunday, November 5th.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Back to you, Alex and Mike.
All right, thanks, Sonia. Still ahead, the Cooper Marching Band puts on a show that is fit for a king.
But first, the Wayzata boys and Maple Grove girls play for state championships in soccer. John Jacobson has the highlights up next.
I'm John Jacobson. The Wayzata boys soccer team returned a great core group from last year's state runner-up team. The Trojans looked like a strong title contender all season, and it proved to be true. Wayzata meeting Stillwater rematch of last year's AA title game. The Ponies get a great chance less than 30 seconds into the game, but Maxwell Timmons' shot sails wide. Wayzata's Stuart Sane drives a long shot, but Stillwater goalkeeper Fred LeClaire makes a diving save. It's 0-0 at halftime. In the second half, Adi Body drives a long ball into the box, and Patrick Weah redirects it in for a goal. The Trojans get on the board in the 54th minute. Later in the game, Spencer Scott drives a hard shot, but Danny Welshons makes the stop for the Trojans. In the final minute of play, Weah gets a steal near midfield and springs Ethan Wagner for a breakaway. Wagner drives the shot home with 16 seconds left. Wayzata wins its third state title with a 2-0 win.
I didn't even know what happened. I was just like in the right moment, right place at the right time. And the ball came to me and I just put it in the back of the net.
That was probably one of the most stressful 20-25 minutes of my life, to be honest with you. Really at that point, I tell my defenders everything's out. I just don't play around with it in the back. Just kind of get the pressure off the defense and just kind of let the forwards run with the ball is our game plan at that point. So.
Maple Grove's girls were making their first ever appearance in the state tournament this year, and the Crimson reached the state final and faced Egan for the Class AA championship. First half of this one, Zaya Allen takes the free kick for Maple Grove. Beautiful header by Meredith Hawkinson to the goal, gives the Crimson a 1-0 lead. Late in the first, the Wildcats draw even. Jessica Van Wick's free kick just under the crossbar and in to make it 1-1. Second half, same score. A high ball into the box is misplayed by the Egan keeper. She scrambles back to rob Maple Grove's Lauren Bredensteiner. Great save there. Heartbreaking end for MG. Egan gets a corner kick with under 10 seconds to play, and Ellen Pagoyas heads it in for the Wildcats. It's her first goal of the season. Egan wins the state title with a 2-1 victory. Well, it's pretty tough to condense all of the highlights from last night's Section 5 3A volleyball final into 45 seconds or so, but we're going to try. Top-seeded Champlin Park taking on third-seeded St. Michael Albertville for the title. First set in this one, Champlin Park in Navy. Izzy Ashburn sets to Emma Schmidt. Her attack off the block and down. Rebels win set 1, 25-21. Set 2, a wild one. Syra Tanshin with a block here, and she gives the Knights a 27-26 lead. The Rebels rally. The ball set outside to Ashburn, whose hit is knocked out by the Knights. Champlin Park wins 30-28, and they lead 2 sets to none. You got great plays like this one from number 3. Lexi Nelson helped rally the Knights. Abby Harrington ends the point with a block as STMA wins the third and fourth sets. The fifth set went back and forth, but the Rebels finally prevail. Schmidt with a kill to win it. Champlin Park wins their 4th straight Section 5 3A title with a 5-set win. You can watch that match in its entirety tonight, Friday at 7 o'clock and Saturday afternoon at 1 here on CCX. Hopkins will play Benilde St. Margaret's for the Section 6 3A title at Cooper High School Saturday at noon. The state cross-country meet is Saturday in Northfield. Several local individuals plus a handful of teams will run the course. The Maple Grove girls qualified for the state meet, and the Wayzata girls and boys teams are among the favorites in the Class AA meet. The Heritage Christian boys will race in the Class A meet at St. Olaf College. First race of the day is at 10 a.m. Saturday. Parents who think their young children might want to try out the sport of hockey can do just that Saturday at a couple of local ice arenas at no cost. USA Hockey's Try Hockey for Free Day for boys and girls ages 4 to 9 is taking place around the country Saturday, including at both New Hope Ice Arena and the Maple Grove Community Center. At New Hope, it happens between 11:15 a.m. and 12:15 p.m. with Armstrong Cooper Youth Hockey Association coaches on the ice with the kids and free skate rental available also. At Maple Grove, the Try Hockey for Free clinic runs from 2:15 to 3:15 p.m. Champlin and Rogers are also hosting similar events on Saturday. Cold night again for section football tonight. Bundle up if you're going out. Alex and Mike, back to you.
It might be a 2-blanket night. All right, thank you. Up next, today's weekend showcase.
The kids at Cooper get in step for a performance they've been working all year on. We'll be right back.
Well, there is an opportunity this weekend to snag a deal on kids' items while also supporting youth entrepreneurs.
The ballroom at the Plymouth Creek Center will be filled with kids selling items at the Kids Garage Sale on Sunday. A similar event was recently held in Crystal, and it gives kids a chance to work on their sales skills.
Right now we have 24 kids registered that'll be setting up tables to sell all kids stuff from clothes, books, toys, games. We don't allow any adult stuff, so it's all related to the kids.
There are still a few spots open for kids to have a table at the sale on Sunday starting at noon. You can register on the City of Plymouth's website. Saturday night, you have the opportunity to witness a very special marching band performance.
Cooper High School will be putting on a show that's fit for a king. Here's Neil Pursley with today's Weekend Showcase.
So this year, the marching band is traveling to Memphis. We'll be taking a bus out there and seeing some of the sights and sounds, going to see Graceland, and we'll be participating in the Liberty Bowl halftime show with the Isley Brothers as their headlining act, and we'll be doing a parade down Beale Street.
To help offset the cost of this trip, the band is putting on this special event called King of Rock, featuring the music of Elvis, complete with Elvis impersonator Jeff Merrill, and a special appearance by the Maverick Machine Drumline from Minnesota State University, Mankato.
It's a great thing to help us raise money for the band, stuff like that. It's a great thing for the community so they can see what we're doing, really, instead of just doing the stuff at the halftime shows.
And not every song is an Elvis song.
I really like the Sweet Caroline. I have a really cool part at the start of the song.
Just being able to show the community like what we've been working on all year, because like they only see certain parts of it during like the football games. Not everybody comes to those, but now it's like open to the whole community and they can just see what we've been working on.
Time and again, I heard how much band members want to have their friends, neighbors, and community come out to see what they've spent so much time this year working on.
We are still marching on the stage, but it's going to be a lot more cramped, but we've actually designed a completely new show surrounding just the smaller area we get to work with. So I think it will be cool to kind of compress our show down to a smaller area and still keep the crowd engaged with what we're doing.
These Cooper students are proud of their product, and they should be. They've put a lot of work into their routines this year, and from what I heard, if you're in the auditorium Saturday night, you will be entertained. For Weekend Showcase from Cooper High School in New Hope, Neil Pursley, CCX News.
The King of Rock takes place Saturday at 7 p.m. at the Cooper High School Auditorium. Tickets are $15, and it's an outdoor band playing indoors. That ought to be rocking.
A little warmer in there.
Oh,
least,
yeah,
yes,
for sure.
So.
No worry about the weather. That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here on Monday, starting at 4 o'clock.